welcome to Knit Cat Pattywork. I'm a cat and I share easy knitting tutorials. Today I'd like to share with you something that's a little bit different but hopefully useful to a lot of you, as I know that most of you watching will be crafty like me. And given the current coronavirus crisis going on, with everybody socially distancing and there not being very much available in the shops, I hope that this video will be well timed to help those of you with children. No baby wipes? No problem. I am going to show you how to make some. So today I'm going to show you some of my favourite baby products that I have made myself for my own kids. A lot of YouTubers like to talk about baby essentials or must-haves, and I guess I am too. Although what is absolutely essential? Not very much. But these are things that I have loved and found either very special and sentimental or extremely helpful and things that I wouldn't want to do without as a parent of a baby. While I was making a list of things that I've made for my babies, I realised that the moral of the story is cut up your old clothes, wipe your babies with them, and you'll save money. So for those of you who don't know, I am a mum to a 3-year-old girl and a 7.5-month-old boy. I am also very cheap. So I like to make my own things where possible when they're going to be cheaper than buying them. The first thing I want to show you are these reusable baby wipes. Yes, you don't have to use disposable baby wipes and go through hundreds of them a month. I have actually never bought disposable baby wipes for my kids. I have been gifted a few packs here and there and they do come in handy from time to time, but 99+% of the time I use these wipes, which I made myself for almost nothing. They're made out of a flannelette fabric, and I just cut squares out that are roughly 21 centimeters squared, and then I overlock them with a zigzag stitch on a sewing machine, which I borrowed to stop them from fraying. You don't need to know much about sewing at all. I only have a very basic sewing knowledge myself, and like I say, when I made these I didn't even own a sewing machine. I do now. But guess what? These don't have to be perfect at all because they are literally made for wiping somebody's bottom, so they don't have to be fancy. These ones here are made from mine and my husband's old pajamas, so they cost me nothing. And this one here is made from an old baby blanket which I bought from a charity shop for about $2. The ones made from old pajamas do wear out quicker than the ones that I made out of the old baby blanket, which looked quite new when I bought it from a charity shop. So how worn out your fabric was to begin with does determine how long the wipes will last. That said, this one here is one of my more worn out ones, and I made it while I was pregnant with my daughter and it has still lasted. So they still last a fair while even with old fabric. I'm going to show you a very quick little tutorial now about how I made these baby wipes. So to make my baby wipes, I take an A4 sheet of paper, I fold it over diagonally onto itself, and then fold up the little excess little tab, and then I've got myself a square. I use that as a template to trace onto the fabric to make my baby wipes. From one pair of my pajama pants, I made 16 baby wipes. What I like to do to save me time when I'm cutting out the baby wipes is to make sure that I keep as many seams that are from the pajamas as possible so that I don't have to sew up those edges. So this one here uses the bottom cuff of the pajama leg, and this one here uses a seam from the middle, and that's one less edge for me to sew up. And I simply do a zigzag stitch around the outside and I've got myself a baby wipe. I just keep these in an ice cream container in a basket with my baby's cloth nappies. Yes, we do use cloth nappies or diapers. I fill the container with the wipes and then I add quite a lot of water. And I only keep as many of them in there as will last me a few days, but not too long because you don't want stagnant water hanging around for too long, breeding bacteria. I did try putting a little bit of baby bath wash in the water when my daughter was small, but both of my kids have sensitive skin and I found that just plain water was better. And you'll want to keep the wipes quite wet as well so that you don't have to scrape the wipes on your baby's sensitive skin to clean it, because that can be irritating. Because we use cloth nappies, it's easy just to chuck the wipes in the nappy pail and wash them with the nappies. I keep a few in a plastic container in my nappy bag as well, either wet or dry, depending on whether I'm going somewhere where there will be running water available. And for the wipes that I'm putting in wet in the nappy bag, I make sure they're not quite as saturated as they are when I'm at home, just in case the container leaks. While we're in the nappy basket, another thing that I've made for my kids is nappy liners. So the nappy rash cream that we use is not cloth nappy friendly, which is a risk that I've chosen to take, so sue me, but it is the cream that agrees best with my baby's skin. But it does mean that we need to protect the cloth nappies from the cream. So I make these liners simply by going to a charity shop and buying either microfleece fabric if I can find it, or a microfleece baby blanket, whatever I can find, and then I cut it up into rectangles to fit the nappies. This also makes cleaning poos easier, and it keeps the nappies cleaner. And if the liners do get a build-up of nappy rash cream, I just throw them away and make new ones, and it's not a big deal. Another kind of cloth that I DIY for my babies are these. We just call them blue cloths, and they're made from my husband's old worn out singlets, and some of them are actually black, not blue. I cut them to about the size of an A4 sheet of paper, but honestly it is literally a rag, so you don't have to be precise. I used to overlock these like the baby wipes, but I've stopped doing that because they're made from a knit fabric, which is unlikely to fray, and honestly if they were to fray it wouldn't be a big deal just to throw them out because they were old clothes anyway. I use these blue cloths as more of a multi-purpose wipe, so with disposable baby wipes you can use them on a bottom, you can use them on a face, it doesn't matter because you're going to throw them away. But I didn't feel comfortable using the same cloth on my baby's bottom as I did on their face, so that's why I made these. They're great for wiping off faces and hands after eating, and also catching spit up, and even blowing noses in a pinch. I keep them in a kitchen drawer for wiping faces after my baby eats, and I also keep some in my nappy bag. My son, when he was a small baby, was prone to spitting up when he had his milk, so I always kept one on my bedside table while breastfeeding to use as a burp cloth. And they can be made out of anything really. I think an old t-shirt would work really well, just cut it up. It works great, just goes straight through the wash, not an issue. Again, using my old flannelette pyjamas, I have made reusable nursing pads, really simply to catch any leaks. So these are useful especially in the first few months of breastfeeding if you've got a tendency to leak, and I made these while I was pregnant with my daughter, and they have seen me through to my second child. I made these using a tutorial I found online, which I will try and find and link below, but basically it's 4 layers of flannelette fabric in a circle shape. I cut a slit in it and just overlapped it slightly to make it slightly concave, and then sewed around the edges. And like the wipes, these don't have to be perfect at all because nobody is going to see them. I'm going to have to put my baby's baptism gown on here as a DIY baby favourite, obviously not essential, but it has got a lot of sentimental value to me. And if you're a crafty person, as I'm sure many of you are, it's such a great thing to be able to make something special for your babies to welcome them into the world. I made this gown out of leftover yarn from when I made my wedding dress. It's mercerized cotton, so it's a little bit shiny, and I modified a cardigan pattern to make it. I added a little bit more of the lace pattern on the bottom edge and also made it longer, of course, and then I added an eyelet row and a ribbon so that I could adjust the width. Both of my babies have worn this gown for their baptisms, and I'm planning for all of my babies to wear it. My siblings and I all wore the same gown which my grandmother sewed for us. Baby hats are another big favourite thing to DIY. Babies grow really fast, guys, and more than once when my daughter was little, it'd almost feel like an urgent situation that she needed a hat now, because it would seem like she'd all of a sudden grown out of her old one. Having an easy baby beanie pattern under my fingers to knit was really helpful because it meant I could just whip up a new beanie in a night or two. I also made her a couple of sun hats out of 4-ply cotton, and because they're cotton knits, they stretch and they last a long time considering how quickly babies grow. The patterns for both of these sun hats are on my blog as free patterns, so I will link them below. This is another big sentimental one for me, baby blankets. They're useful, of course, but they are also a great chance to give your child something special to welcome them into the world. My aunt actually knitted my daughter's special blanket and she sent it to us all the way over from the UK, and I made this one for my son. And this pattern is available for free on my blog, so I will be sure to link that in the description below. There are many more things that I have made for my kids, but these are the most significant, either because they are the most useful or because they are the most special. Having a few skills like simple knitting and sewing skills can save you a lot of money as a mum, and also model to your children resourcefulness and practical ways to reuse and recycle things. And those are both great lessons to teach your kids. I hope you enjoyed this video about my DIY baby favourites, and please comment below with what you've DIY'd for the little ones in your life. And if you'd like to see more of what I've been crafting, please check out my other videos, and please remember to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.